It started with a green light. Not a UFO, not a signal from space, but the tiny, pulsing LED on the back of a smartwatch charging on my nightstand. Except it wasn't my watch. It was connected to my iPad, syncing data from her watch. My wife, Sarah, was supposed to be in Chicago for a pharmaceutical conference, 300 miles away. She had called me at 9:30 p.m., her voice heavy with exhaustion. "I have a migraine, babe," she'd whispered. "I took a pill. I'm gonna pass out. Don't call me. I need to sleep it off." I told her I loved her. I told her to rest. I hung up, feeling that dull ache of missing her. That was 4 hours ago. Now, it was 1:42 a.m. I was awake, unable to sleep, the rain tapping against our bedroom window like Morse code. I picked up the iPad to check the weather for tomorrow. That's when the notification slid down from the top of the screen. Activity alert. Sarah has closed her exercise ring. I stared at the screen. The blue light illuminated the confusion on my face. Exercise ring? She was asleep. She had a migraine. I unlocked the iPad and opened the health app. We shared our data, a decision we made last New Year's when we promised to get fit together. I refreshed the page. The graph spiked. At 1:15 a.m., her heart rate had jumped from a resting 60 beats per minute to 110. At 1:30 a.m., it hit 145, cardio zone. At 1:40 a.m., it peaked at 168. I sat up in bed, the sheets pooling around my waist. My mind, usually logical and analytical, tried to find a rational explanation. Maybe she woke up and went for a run in the middle of the night with a migraine. Maybe the watch was malfunctioning. Maybe she was having a nightmare. I clicked on the GPS data. The Palmer House Hotel, Chicago. She was where she said she was, but the biological data told a different story. You don't hit 168 BPM from a nightmare. You hit that when you're running for your life, or when you're engaging in intense physical activity. I felt a cold shiver that had nothing to do with the room temperature. The X-Files part of my brain, the part that notices inconsistencies, woke up. I zoomed in on the heart rate chart. It wasn't steady like a run. It was erratic. Spikes and valleys. Intense bursts followed by rest. The pattern was rhythmic. It was intimate. I reached for my phone to call her. My thumb hovered over her name. If I called and she answered breathless, I'd know. If I called and she didn't answer, I'd suspect. But if I was wrong, if she was just tossing and turning with a fever, I'd look like a paranoid lunatic. I put the phone down. I didn't call. Instead, I opened my laptop. If the watch was telling the truth, I needed more data. I needed to triangulate the signal. I needed to know if my wife was fighting a headache, or if she was fighting to keep a secret. The next morning, Sarah texted me at 8 a.m. "Sarah, morning, babe. Migraine is gone, but I feel like I got hit by a truck. Slept like the dead, though. How are you?" Slept like the dead. I looked at the screenshot on my laptop, the one showing she burned 400 calories between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. I typed back, "Glad you feel better. Did you sleep through the night?" The 3 dots danced. "Yeah, out cold." Why? Lying. The first lie is always the hardest to swallow. After that, they just taste like ash. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. I felt like an investigator working a cold case. I logged into our cell phone provider's website. I wanted to check data usage. If she was asleep, her phone should have been idle, connected to hotel Wi-Fi. I pulled the logs for last night. At 1:20 a.m., right when her heart rate started to climb, her phone used 150 megabytes of data. At 1:30 a.m., another chunk. She was streaming something. Music? A video? Then, I remembered something she told me about the conference. It's huge this year, Mark. People from all over the country. I logged into LinkedIn. I searched for her company. I looked for connections who were also in Chicago. I scrolled through faces, sales, reps, managers. And then I saw him. David Kay, regional manager, based in Seattle. He had posted a photo on Instagram last night. Location, the Palmer House Hotel Bar, Chicago. Caption, Chicago nights, pre-gaming before the big day. It was a group photo. Sarah wasn't in it. But on the table, amidst the beer bottles and appetizers, was a distinct object. A clutch purse. Silver with a rhinestone clasp. I knew that purse. I bought it for her last Christmas. My heart started to hammer in my chest, mimicking the rhythm of her watch from the night before. She was at the bar. She wasn't sleeping off a migraine. But being at a bar isn't a crime. Lying about it is suspicious, but not proof of the physical act. I needed the smoking gun. I waited until she came home 2 days later. She walked in, smiling, smelling of airplane air and stale coffee. She hugged me. I felt her wrist against my back. The watch, the witness. I missed you, she said. I missed you too. I lied. How was the hotel? Oh, fine. Old, creepy. The Wi-Fi was terrible. The Wi-Fi. That was the key. Let me take your bag, I said. Thanks. I'm going to jump in the shower. As soon as the water started running, I grabbed her Apple Watch from the charger where she dropped it. I didn't need her passcode. I didn't need to read her texts. I went into settings. I went into Wi-Fi. I went into no networks. The watch stores every Wi-Fi network it has ever connected to. I scrolled past our home network, past the airport Wi-Fi, past Palmer, house, guest, and there it was, a network name I didn't recognize, iPhone 3. Her watch had connected to a personal hotspot, someone else's phone. Why would she connect to a hotspot in a hotel with Wi-Fi? Unless she was in a room where the hotel signal was weak, or unless she was in a car, or somewhere the hotel Wi-Fi didn't reach? I took a picture of the screen. Then I put the watch back. I had the anomaly. I had the motive. Now I needed to identify the suspect. iPhone 3. David K. I went to his Facebook profile. I dug through his old photos, looking for anything tech-related. A post from 2 years ago. Finally got the new upgrade. Picture of a new iPhone box. In the comments, a friend asked, "Is this your third one this year?" David replied, "Yeah, lol. iPhone 3, baby." It was circumstantial. It wouldn't hold up in court. But in the court of my marriage, the jury was already deliberating. I decided to play the long game. I didn't confront her. I waited for the next business trip. It came 2 weeks later. "Dallas," she said. "Just 2 nights." "Okay," I said. "Have fun." I helped her pack. I watched her put the silver purse in her bag. I kissed her goodbye. But this time, I slipped something into the lining of her suitcase. Not a tracker. That's too amateur. I slipped in an old iPad mini we used for reading. It was thin, light, and crucially, it was signed into my Apple ID. I buried it between her sweaters. She landed in Dallas. I tracked the iPad using Find My. It moved from the airport to the Omni Hotel. Okay, standard procedure. But at 9 p.m., the dot moved. It left the Omni. It went to a steakhouse downtown. And then, at 11:30 p.m., it didn't go back to the Omni. It went to a residential address in the suburbs of Dallas. I Googled the address. It wasn't a hotel. It was a luxury apartment complex. I searched the complex name plus David K. Nothing. I searched the complex name plus her company. Nothing. I sat there, staring at the blinking dot. Why was she at an apartment? Then I opened the health app again. It was 12:15 a.m. Her heart rate began to climb. 70, 90, 120. The pattern repeated. The phantom heartbeat was back. I picked up my phone. I dialed her number. It rang once, twice, then it stopped. Sent to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I opened the Find My app again. I clicked on the iPad mini in her suitcase. There is a feature called Play Sound. It's meant for finding lost devices. It plays a piercing, high-pitched sonar ping at maximum volume, even if the device is on silent. I took a deep breath. I imagined them together. In that apartment, I imagined her watch flashing green against his skin. I pressed Play Sound. I waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Then my phone rang. It was Sarah. "Mark?" Her voice was panicked, breathless. In the background, I could hear a man's voice shouting, "What the hell is that noise?" "Mark, my suitcase is screaming! What did you do?" I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I spoke with the comm detachment of an agent closing a file. I found the glitch, Sarah. What? What are you talking about? I'm in my hotel room. My bag just started. You're not at the hotel. I cut her off. You're at the Highland Park lofts. And judging by your heart rate 10 minutes ago, you weren't sleeping. Silence. The kind of silence that is heavier than any scream. Mark, and tell David, I continued, my voice steady, that naming his hotspot iPhone 3 is terrible operational security. I heard a gasp. She realized then. She realized I wasn't just guessing. I had the data. I had the map. I had the biometrics. Don't come home, Sarah, I said. I'm syncing the locks to a new code, one you don't have. I hung up. I watched the dot on the map stay still for a long time. Then, I closed the laptop. I looked at my own watch. My heart rate was steady. 72 BPM. The phantom was gone. The truth was out there, and I had finally found it.